Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Good enough. We shouldn't even be thinking about beating this 49ers. We shouldn't be talking about it because the Saints ain't good enough. And you guys shouldn't write about us being a playoff team and all that bullshit. That's malarkey. We ain't good enough to beat those guys, and it was proven out there today. It's that simple. We're not good enough yet. We got a long way to go. We got a lot of work to do. We're close, and close don't mean... And you can put that on TV for me. I'm tired of coming close, and we're going to work off till we ain't close anymore. And it may take some time. We're going to get it done. We aren't in there. We aren't good enough. They're better than us. Black and white, simple fact. Could have, would have, should have is the difference in what I'm talking about. The good teams don't come in and say could have. They get it done. All right? It's that simple. I'm tired of saying could have, should have, would have. That's why we ain't good enough yet. Because we're saying could have and they ain't.
All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the live, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the live Hump Day edition. Much love. We're in the building, man. Opening it up with Coach Jim Mora, the great Jim Mora, who never was at a loss of words when talking about the black and gold and about the team and what's going wrong with the team. Jim Mora never, ever was at a loss for words, man, when talking about the team. Here go one right here, man. Shout out. Look, we got Ed Daniels going back in the day to the right here. Look at Ed here.
You're not here? What the where's your camera guy? I kicked his off the field.
He's in the dorm room right
Good.
now.
You keep asshole. I don't ever want anybody. Look like a goddamn couple of. I don't want anything on. Leave it off. 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 Leave it off.
Look at Ed.
Nothing's for the record.
A young Ed
Over there, and
Daniels.
I see two guys with cameras, like a couple of damn lechers, you know. Oh my God, we're gonna film a guy hurt. It's unbelievable. That's chick stuff, and I don't want that ever on this practice field. Not ever. You understand? Ever.
Jim Moore, man. That guy, man, he's a laugh and a half. Jim Moore. All right, anyway, shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being alive, man. Shout out to OG Jerry. Travis, how you doing, sir? St. Doug, big ups to you, bro. 992 Ras, big ups, fam. Appreciate you for being in the building, man. Much love to y'all, man, for giving up your time for tonight's show. Black Major, shout out to you, fam. What's up, English? Much love, fam. Quavadius, I see you, bro. Much love. Appreciate you, fam. V Griffin in the building as well. Good to see y'all as well. He did, bro. He told it like it was. It's a bunch of other skits, man, besides the main ones that I found with Jim Moore. Like the one, I wish I would have had it. I'm gonna have to clip it, and it would have been the perfect clip to play. And I said, after the post game was over with from last week, with Jim Morris walking down the stairs, and he walks onto it and says, we got it kicked and all this kind of stuff. And he talked about special teams. We stunk. Y'all remember that one? I was like, man, why didn't I have that sucker lined up, man? When Jim Moore just stepped on the scene, he just came right on down and just went right on into it. And just started laying right on into him and started talking about it, man. He here it is right here, matter of fact. Y'all, here you go.
Second game, we got our ass kicked. Or the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half.
I'm
totally
telling you.
embarrassed and totally ashamed.
I'm ashamed.
Coaching, our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job.
Yes.
We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
So much.
Just one game.
Oh, that's it, man. That shout out to Jim Moore, man. That's literally the Who Dat Nation's feelings on Saturday night, man. When that I have to clip that. Hopefully we don't have another one of those games we had last week. When we get ready, man, I'm gonna clip that, man. We're gonna go right. I say, fam, we got the coach ready to, and then it goes right to that clip. All right, DJ Philco, what's up, bro? Shout out to you. I see you, Trey. Shout out to Trey. Brother Gundam is in this building as well. Jack, how you doing, sir? Much love, man. Yeah. You seen Swoboda, bro? He said that's when him and Swoboda spelled. Yeah, I remember that. I got that clip, bro. When him and Swoboda got Ryan Swoboda. You old school, bro. Not too many people remember Ryan Swoboda and Ken Trahan and all these. I think Ken's over the Hall of Fame with Ed Daniels, those guys. I think that's Ed's best friend was Ken Trahan, man. But yeah, these are old school guys when Buddy D was around, man. When we was talking Who Dat Nation, man. Those were the legends of the Who Dat Nation report, man. You can see Ed Daniels, rest in peace. He was in that clip, man. He been at it for a long time. But anyway, fam, in this one, man, listen, we're going to go over some news, notes, and items for the black and gold, man. Listen, we got a lot to deal with, in the middle of the week as we got to turn this around, fam. We got to get ready to turn all this stuff around if it's possible to turn it around, man. And I think it is. It's we 3 weeks in. There's still a ton of football remaining. The Saints have dug quite a hole for themselves. But in the end, if you have enough heart and determination, you can dig yourself out one game at a time. It's been done before. I mean, the further you're in, the more difficult it is for you to do it. But the Saints, man, listen, what is it, fam? What's the spread? It's 16.5 points. I mean, that's such a ridiculous long spread. And I remember reading something that the spread against the Saints haven't been that large since in the mid 80s. Since the mid 80s, fam. That is ridiculous, man. So, I mean, in the end, we would have to change around things and kind of get that stuff going, man, as well. But yeah, let's kind of dig right into it, man, because this is something we have to cover. As you see on the screen, Saints Wednesday report. kind of talking about this thing, the New Orleans Saints injury report, and we'll get right into it. Gundam, I'm gonna cover that in just a second, my bro. Give me just a second. All right, English says Moore would have took off his belt and spanked Loomis for dissing the Nate. Yeah, he wouldn't have tolerated the disrespect that Mickey Loomis ran out to the public. But then again, it's a different era. And they just let Mickey do whatever he wants. What's up, Jack? Jack says 16 and a half is well deserved. Thank you, Mickey. Indeed. It's a lot of stuff going wrong with the Saints, but it's still football at the end of the day. And I know about the talent of the Saints. Even though it looks rough and nasty right now, and it looks terrible. That last week game is like, you don't want to see that unless it was the first week and they look that bad, and then you see incremental improvement from week to week. But when you see how they played in weeks 1 and then weeks 2 and then weeks 3, it's like they fell through the flow. Something was, is terribly wrong. And then it's gut check time. You don't smash the panic button in week 3. You don't do that. But what you do, which buttons you do press, you smash the hell out of the urgency buttons. Panic, no. But urgency, you got to play with urgency. You got to up those things. Because, like the old saying say, family, y'all know it all too well. The great Saint think tank is the most intelligent of all. But you know how the most sayings go. The one about adversity, how it doesn't develop character. It exposes it, that it shows you who you really are in tough times. So we know the Saints are definitely in a rainstorm of their own making. What is the character of the New Orleans Saints, the 2025-26 Saints? Because that is the problem. I don't think it's a talent issue. I think it's what are they made up internally in form of mind and thought process? Where are they there? Because that is what it's going to take for you to climb out of an 0-3 hole and beat teams that people telling you don't have a chance to beat. The Saints came into the season from week to week as perennial underdogs, even for teams that didn't even have some of their best players. They were still saying that they're going to beat the Saints, and the Saints folded right into that self-fulfilling prophecy that the adversary set for them. It's about time for them to show who they really are in terms of having courage and integrity and stepping the hell up. And I'm talking to the veterans, man. The young people is one thing, but I'm talking to the veterans, man. All these guys, these blowhards that like to get out here and sit up here on the mic and speak about integrity and teammates, DeMario and Cam Jordan, all you, where the hell you guys are, man? Where are you? That you need to galvanize as a team leader. They gave, and these guys in particular, fam, because they have a C on the chest. I'm talking about the guys with the C's on their chest. That gave them the C, meaning captain of their particular group. Where are these guys to rally these guys around the team and say, man, this is ridiculous. We need to play better. So they have an adversary that they have to go up into Buffalo, that's a very good team. That's one of the elite teams in the league. So you will be tasked with beating them, and you have a 16 and a half spread for the Buffalo Bills. By all intents and purposes, most of the people in the world follow football believe that the Saints will go up there and get their teeth kicked in by the Buffalo Bills. Crazier things have happened. But if there would be a shock the world moment for the Saints to pull themselves together and gain some courage, some integrity, some intelligence, some heart, some drive, some stick-to-itiveness, that's an old school word, and galvanize, crystallize, and take that Tupac me against the world mentality and run into the Buffalo Bills like they never seen before. I mean, if they can do that, then that would definitely serve to save whatever season they have. But in the end, my question is, can they do that? Can they switch whatever they've been screwing on or screwing with and change it to where it's a positive, where it is a negative? And that is where we'll stand and find out where it is. They have to stand on business, man, no doubt about it. Anyway, 7 New Orleans Saints players listed on the Hump Day edition of the injury report going up against the Buffalo Bills. Dylan Redunce is DMP'd. So is Chase Young. More on him in just a minute. Tali Fuaga was limited with knee and back issues. Remember, they were holding Tali out to the 2 previous weeks of practice, and then when he gets to the game, then he would play. Except for last week, he didn't play at all because he had just that knee problem. Now it was a knee in the back. Now he's playing. He was limited today. Trey Palmer with a hamstring was limited. Do we get to see Trey? I don't know. Devon Valley, his hip, he didn't play last year. Last week he was deactivated. He's limited. Cam Jordan had a groin issue, but he fully practiced. So, and Trevor Penning's toe seemed like he's on the fast track. So he's on the plus side of it. Is Penning fully practiced? And by all intents and purposes, if he don't have any setbacks, he more than likely will go into the week's matchup at the guard position. We'll see what they got going on. And then, of course, we go over to the Buffalo Bills. And you see there's not too much shaking with them. Spencer Brown, the offensive lineman, was DNP'd. So is linebacker Matt Milano. Defensive tackle Ed Oliver, the starter, is dealing with an ankle. He was DNP'd as well. And defensive end AJ Espinoza is dealing with a pectoral situation, and he was limited. So Buffalo Bills not dealing with too many injuries. 4 guys mentioned, and the Saints still have a couple of offensive linemen on that injury list that they're dealing with. And right now, still in all through the week, the Saints have not really done anything to bring any more talent into the team. And I was expecting them to do that. At least come and try out a kicker. Bring a kicker in here. This guy that missed 3 straight field goals, 3 straight weeks. Bring a kicker to try out just to scare him. I mean, just to show him that, man, you got to get it straight, bro. I can't allow this. And they didn't do it, and we'll see what he does here. Well, we'll see what the players do and how he gathers control of this and moves it forward. Let's take a look at this article. Saints Kellen Moore gives a Chase Young injury update because people are asking the question. Shout out to Kyle T. Mosley, Sports Illustrated. The Saints got an update on Chase Young, and it was given to them by the coach. Let's get into the article. Saints have been missing one of the biggest pieces of the defense to begin the 25 National Football League season. Saints resigned Chase Young this past offseason to a 3-year deal worth $51 million after spending the 24 season with the Saints. Young played in 17 games last year, had 5.5 sacks and 31 total tackles. That was tied with Carl Granderson for the second on the team behind Brian Bressee's 7.5. Young has missed the Saints' first 3 games of the season while dealing with a calf injury. On Wednesday, the Saints released their initial injury report. We just went over it, and it shared that Young missed practice once again. Young was joined by Dylan Raduntz, who's also missed practice on Wednesday, as y'all guys seen. While this is the case, Saints head coach Kellen Moore had a positive update about the pass rusher today. Moore shared that Young is, quote, close, end quote, to returning, as shared by Jack Nowak. Shout out Jack. Also, Chase Young is close. You can see it right here. Jack Nowak showed here is progressing. Close. What does close mean? Close means this week or next week. Close means this game. We'll have to wait and see. That's obviously not much to go off, but it is positive at the very least. Young is a big piece for the team. Back early on this offseason, it wasn't clear what direction the Saints would go in. They weren't in a great position salary cap wise, and it seemed like Young would be too expensive to return. Instead, the Saints restructured some deals and ended up resigning the 26-year-old. When he initially went down with the calf injury, he talked about how he was feeling good. He says, I feel good, very good. I feel good. That's all I'm going to say, Young said. He also said, hell no when asked if it's a long-term issue. And also that's the same kind of energy or comment that not just Chase, but Kellen Moore also said. Nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. But yet the first 3 weeks he's been out. But this is a calf issue we're talking about, especially with all the Achilles injuries going around. It's important to take care of calf injuries and not get too hasty. Hopefully he's able to return as soon as this weekend, but it's important not to rush a soft tissue injury like the calf. Well, they've been sitting him out. They've been sitting Chase Young out for the last 3 weeks, and it's about time to see if he can't go. He was DNP'd today. I don't know how close. Well, what close means, that's not much to go on, but it is somewhat of a date. It's better than not getting anything. So would close be now? I mean, we have 2 days of practice left to go, Thursday and Friday. Would he be kicked from DNP to limited for one of those 2 days, or if not both? We'll see, man, as we move forward, because the Saints don't have a pass rush. They don't have a pass rush. They need Chase Young. Whatever Chase Young can give them, we need to take it, because Cam Jordan is not. He had the first game when he had a sack and a half, but he has disappeared. There has not been any pass rush from that opposite side, and we need somebody to help Carl Granderson out. Carl Granderson has 3 sacks so far in a year, and Carl's just moving around. He's the only guy. Brian Bresee almost had one. He let Sam Darnold get away. We need Bresee to step it up. We need I can't ask Carl. Carl's doing what he can do, but we need some help from the opposite side too. And Cam is not really Cam's old, man. Even though he came into the season in good shape, but we still have a guy that's spending a lot of money in Chase Young. And we need Chase Young to get healthy and show up on Sunday to provide a pass rush on Josh Allen. We can't let Josh Allen do a Sam Darnold and Mac Jones impersonation. How about those two jewels of quarterbacks that we faced the last 2 weeks? And then it might as well have been Brock Purdy in a Super Saiyan form or Ultra Instinct form of Sam Darnold. It might as well been. But the way those guys played, the guy Darnold had 4 incompletions against us last week. I mean, my goodness. And Mac Jones, I thought he was Brock Purdy running around out there. It was ridiculous. So these mediocre quarterbacks that we're meeting, we need a pass rusher to come in from the opposite side of Granderson and to be able to just make it uncomfortable. Just flush them out. Make them feel some sense of urgency and hesitancy back there. Make them throw the ball earlier. You see what I'm saying? Let them get that ball out. We possibly can get an interception. Somebody can get back there and strip the ball out. Can't let the guys sit back there and just and have a good time with the Saints and barbecue and drink beer and spin around and dance and all this type of stuff and cook the Saints defense, man. We need that $51 million or whatever it was that we paid Chase Young. We need him to step the hell up, get in there, and generate a sack. We need some help, man. And if he ain't ready to go, they need to start looking at free agency. They need to do something, bro. They need to do something or scheme up something. They got to create some pressure. Can't let Josh Allen sit back there and wail on them all day. All right. Also, let's move on, man, to this, man. If y'all got questions, I'll get them momentarily, man, after I hit the news. Also, shout out to Drew Brees, man. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, among people that's being nominated for the 2026 Hall of Fame. Now, the rule is 5 years. You have to be retired for 5 years to be nominated or be eligible to be nominated. Drew got nominated in his first year, and we talked about it. First ballot Hall of Famer. 5 years has been since Drew's been retired, and he's lining up for football nirvana. He's lining up for football heaven, and Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, among others, were picked in the first year of eligibility as 2 of the nominees among modern era players for the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Brees and Fitzgerald were 2 of the most prolific producers in the passing game in NFL history. Brees ranked second all time in yards and touchdowns, and Fitzgerald ranking second in receptions. 11 other players in their first year of eligibility were picked among the 128 modern era nominees for this year's class. Other nominees in the first year of eligibility was Phillip Rivers, Alex Smith, tight ends Greg Olsen and Jason Witten, running backs Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, offensive lineman David DeCastro, Marquise Pouncey, defensive lineman Geno Atkins and Jarrell Casey, and linebacker Thomas Davis, the fantastic linebacker from the Carolinas. So the screening committee will reduce this candidate list to 50 in October, with a full 50-member selection committee, then reducing the list to 25 and then to 15 finalists who will then be voted on by a selection meeting before the Super Bowl in February. So they'll dwindle it down to 15 finalists, and I guarantee you Drew Brees is going to be on that list, man. 4 players have already guaranteed themselves spots in the final 15, making it down to the final 7 players in the 25 class, with Willie Anderson, Terry Holt, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, Luke Kuechly was awesome. Terry Holt was awesome. Willie Anderson was awesome. Them just great players. The other returning finalists, Eli Manning, Fred Taylor, Steve Smith Sr., Reggie Wayne, Jari Evans, Marshall Yanda, Terrell Suggs, and Darren Woodson. In addition to the 15 modern era finalists, the selection committee will consider 3 seniors, 1 coach, and 1 contributor for the class of 26. Between 4 and 8 new members will then be elected in the second year of the current format. Only 4 people got in last year for the smallest class in 20 years. Brees is the second all-time to Brady with 8,358 yards, passing yards, that is, and 571 touchdown passes. He spent the first 5 years of his career with the Chargers before signing as a free agent with the Saints in 2006, where his career took off as he helped revive the city, still recovering from the hurricane. He delivered New Orleans his first Super Bowl title following the 2009 season when he won the MVP of the game after beating Peyton Manning and the Colts. Brees made the Pro Bowl 13 times in his career and won Offensive Player of the Year in 2008 and in 2011. It was an All-Pro in 2006. He was a second-team All-Pro 4 times. So the illustrious career of Drew Brees is heading to Canton. And like I said, they're going to whittle that list down, and he's definitely going to get in there. So, man, big ups to Drew, man. And congratulations to him, man. We knew he was going to go in the hall the whole damn time. First ballot, baby. First ballot. He'll go in as a Saint, I guarantee you that. He'll go in as a Saint. He'll join the great Ricky Jackson, the great Willie Roaf. He'll join those guys. Also, outside of Jari Evans, I think they have Leroy Glover is also on that list. As well. So they got quite a few. We have some greats, man. So it's only a matter of time before we see what Drew has. But my money on him being a finalist, man, going down the line, man. All right. Anyway, let's keep it moving, man, and grooving as we move into the next one here. Let's see about this one here. The Saints did make a few moves, but we were looking for the Saints to kind of do some stuff, fam, like bringing some different people, bringing some more offensive linemen to try out because we're dealing with injuries. We need to pick up some of this, that, and the third. If we got injuries, we got a couple of wide receivers on the injury list that missed some time, Palmer and Velli. Do we need to kind of try out a few people? Saints said no. So what did they do? They signed wide receiver Kevin Austin Jr. Wednesday after recently waiving him. So Kevin Austin Jr. was brought back to the practice squad. He caught on with the Jags among the final roster cuts, and then the Saints brought him back to the practice squad back and forth. And Kevin Austin Jr. is back with the team, according to the waiver wire, just to let you know. Also, I was looking for this the other day. It wasn't our family. Guess what the Saints did? They brought back Maliki Matavo. So they brought him back. The big 6'8" tight end is back with the Saints. They waived him. And Ross covered it in an article from LouisianaSports.net that he talks about the Saints announced yesterday that they brought back Matavo after they released him for Trayton Welch. So also Kevin Austin Jr. So those are 2 moves that the Saints talked about is they're adding him back to the practice squad. So Matavo, who's one of the 7-round selections for the Saints, is back on the practice squad. So that's a few things. Kevin Austin Jr. and Big Matavo come back to the squad. No new people. Also, another development in town to talk about is the latest twist in the Saints saga with developmental QB Hunter Dekkers is on the injury reserve. How that worked? The latest turn in the Hunter Dekkers saga, I didn't realize it was a saga, was an interesting one as New Orleans Saints placed the rookie quarterback on IR reserve Wednesday with a shoulder issue. Dekkers has made a dozen appearances on Saints transaction wire, with the Saints releasing him a handful of times to show up other areas of the roster only to bring him back. We finally got him practicing and going, and the shoulder thing came up, said Coach Moore. We've just got to navigate as best we can and try to still do what we can to develop. Very interesting injury for a practice squad quarterback who gets hurt with a shoulder issue. Kind of remind me a couple of years ago when the Saints had, what was the punter that we had that we wanted to statch because they didn't want to get rid of Tommy Morstead that year. They was trying to, but they kept Morstead, and they had 2 punters that made the active roster. People was like, why does Dennis Allen have 2 active punters? What was the punter name? I think that was the guy that was the punter for the Arizona Cardinals that we just was it for the, yeah, I think he's with the Cardinals right now. That punter is who they try to stash. And all of a sudden he developed a injury that allowed him to go on the IR, which is, and that is a slot which he's protected. Now you don't have to worry about cutting Deckers and getting them back. Now that you have this very convenient injury that pops up, Deckers can go to the IR and it free open a spot for you to use at your beck and call. I would say that is some darn good luck there, isn't it? Receiver Kevin Austin took Decker's spot on the practice squad. Austin signed to that roster, as we talked about it. It was held out the Seattle game with a hip injury, and he appeared into 22 snaps and was targeted just once. So there you go. Hunter Deckers is on the IR, and that works so well and so easy, doesn't it, fam? Boy, I tell you, we get all the breaks off the court, off the field. All right, another article right here. Saints Juwan Johnson shares hope for team's path forward. Is this something that the Saints could use to get to a better level here? Let's look at it. Ross covers it. After a brutal Week 3 loss to the Sea Chickens, the New Orleans Saints now face their first test in rebounding from a considerable adversity. The Saints hung around in their first 2 matchups, losing a single score in each and walking away with a sense of competitive pride. This week, the team must learn how to progress and move forward without the sense of accomplishment. After a multi-score blowout, the Saints are about to reveal a lot about themselves with how they choose to respond. After the loss, veteran tight end Juwan Johnson spoke about what he wants to see from his club moving forward and what his role is in ensuring a positive response. The desired response, he said, courage. In the face of adversity, just be of courage, says Juwan Johnson in the locker room following the loss. I feel like that's the biggest thing. Just be of courage. Love what you do. Come to work with an attitude that you want to just win. So courage is what one of the things I did talk about. Have some courage and pride about yourself. Johnson also felt after the game that a stronger focus on success in practice will lead to better opportunities on game days. Who would have thought that? That is so legendary in his thinking. I never heard that before. That success is in practice before. Will lead to better opportunities on game day. Oh, that's just original. He was one of the few players following the game to highlight practice habits as a potential concern for the team. Well, that's not what Divine Gacho said. That wasn't what Gacho said, wasn't family? That wasn't what Gacho said. Divine Gacho said this was one of the best camps that he was ever a part of, all this kind of stuff. Other players said it too. Divine Gacho wasn't the only person that was upping how good camp was, how great the energy was, and all this kind of old stuff. Now we see they're not as good as they thought they were going to be. Now practice is a concern. Oh, is it? He was one of the few players following the game to highlight practice habits as a potential concern for the team. Practice habits. Well, that's most certainly is quite obvious because the Saints look like they didn't have any practice this past week for that Seattle game. They didn't look like they practiced at all. The special teams was a complete disaster. The offense was disjointed. I mean, they had 2 opportunities in which the Saints could have scored touchdowns, right? We seen 2 passes. Well, Spencer had a pass in the end zone that was incomplete. Alvin Kamara was running backwards on the deep ball for whatever damn reason. That was a blown opportunity because if he turned the right way and caught the ball, that was a touchdown. So we're ironing out the wrinkles, not to mention the offensive line in particular, the poor blocking in particular. Several players, including but highlighting and star of the show, Cesar Chicken Salad Ruiz, not to mention the Saints' non-aggressive defense, no pass rush, slow linebackers, and a secondary that looked awful in the regression so bad of a player who used to be called Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's now termed Crystal Light McKinstry by the mighty Who Dat Nation. In the great Saint think tank. He would have to earn that back. And listen, I'm asking the great Saint think tank to come up with a term or a nickname for Alontae Taylor. Okay, Alontae Taylor was awful in that game as well. Now, Kool-Aid stunk. He really did. They had a guy leaped over Kool-Aid. That's how bad he was. But we know Kool-Aid's a young player. I like Kool-Aid, but Kool-Aid's he's not playing like Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's playing like Crystal Light McKinstry. What's a good nickname for Alante Taylor too? Because he didn't look good at all either. So we're not gonna just leave it out on Kool-Aid. A lot of those guys stunk in that game. So I'm gonna let the mighty Who Dat Nation come up with a nickname for Alante Taylor as well. All right, let's get back to the article here. All right, Johnson also felt that after the game, a stronger focus on success in practice will lead to better opportunities on game days. He's one of the few players following the game to highlight practice habits as a potential concern for the team. Practice habits, one of the few. We just want to win everything on Sunday, he said. We're going to lose we're going to lose like we've been doing. This is when we win days like we've been doing, win days. Eventually, Sunday's going to be easy. We'll get our first win, and then we just keep stacking. That's what it is. I just keep stacking and be of coverage. Sound like that's an R&B song. Juwan Johnson is a TikToker. We know he does it on TikToker. It sounds like maybe Juwan Johnson. I don't know if he sings, but that does be of coverage. Sounds like an R&B song or something. I don't know. Despite the struggling performance in week 3, there's a clear positive but urgent message for team leadership. Accountability. Where have we heard that word before? Huh? Where the hell we heard that before? Accountability with a theme with head coach. He was with Kellen Moore. Safety Justin Reed believes players and coaches will take harder looks at themselves rather than blame one another. And Johnson wants to use his voice to sing. No, my bad. I'm saying to put the Saints towards more success by encouraging everyone to stay focused and keep their eyes on the prize, right? Keep your eyes on the prize on the road ahead. I want to be better and be more vocal, not putting guys down, but letting guys know this is something that's an area of focus we need to be better at. We can't get down in the past few weeks. The biggest window on the car is in front of us. Don't mention car, please. So we just have to keep looking forward and not looking behind us. This is what Juwan Johnson is saying, right? Juwan Johnson is saying this, right? And Juwan Johnson has done a lot of positive stuff, and he's done some negative stuff, right? We've seen the offense has not quite flowed the way we want to. We still see some disjointment happening. There's still some questions going on why certain players are still out there. Obviously, they're pinpointing guys like Isaac Gidam on defense, talking about the obvious bad play of Cesar Chicken Salad, Cesar Ruiz. They're making mention of him. They're obviously talking about all this other kind of stuff, right? The fact that the line can't open up holes, the fact that Spencer Rattler is forced to progress fast or forced to evacuate the pocket, all this kind of stuff that the film reveals. We did the film work on Patreon yesterday, and I just was disgusted on what a lot of stuff I've seen. It was stuff that you could learn to do better. And Ruiz looked worse than I've seen him look this entire year. He just looked it's just terrible. But outside of that, another participant or guy joins the shitty train by the name of Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, I don't know what the Saints' philosophy is with Cooks. Why is Cooks out there on run plays? I understand if Cooks is out there for you to pass the football or whatever you're going to do with Brandon Cooks, but he is a total liability in the blocking game. He does not block well. He's not a good blocker. And I don't know why he's out there. He's too small, and he does a really poor job of blocking. I've seen several plays with Brandon Cooks where guys that he was supposed to be blocking would just get around and make plays on. It was a play where Kendre Miller was trying to turn the corner. He was stiff arming a person. He would have got around that guy if it wasn't for Brandon. And Brandon Cooks was blocking his cornerback. And for whatever reason, Brandon Cooks allowed the guy to get around him and help with the player that stopped. And Kendre was trying to get around him. And Cooks was sitting up there just let the damn guy get around him. So I'm like, these guys, it's not just the shitty offensive line. It's these wide receivers. They don't do a really good job of blocking, but especially Brandon Cooks. He is a horrible blocker. Terrible blocker. And he's 5'2", so I understand that he's a little guy like that ain't going to be much of a blocker anyway. But he is really, y'all have to pay attention to the tape. He's really a shitty blocker. I don't know why he's out there trying On the block 6 foot. He's 5'2", and they got guys at 6'2", and he's just a roll bump. Throw yourself at the guy. You know what I'm saying? Chop him down. Do something. Don't he trying to block the guy and look behind him at the same time. What kind of blocking you doing? I mean, guys. If these guys are watching this tape, like we watching this tape, that's why we kept saying, "Hey, man, you need to get bigger physical wide receivers. We don't need diminutive guys. If you want a small guy to be out there with some speed, play Mason Tipton. I've seen Mason Tipton. He does a decent job of blocking. He's the world best blocker, but I know he can do a better job than Brandon Cooks. Cooks is awful. He's shitty out there. Y'all guys really pay attention to Cooks. When they're running and he's supposed to be upfield blocking, look at him. He is terrible at it. He's a total liability in that. And I don't understand why that guy is out there for these packages. If you want a guy with some speed, put Tipton in there. We got to start using these other guys, man. So the final paragraph says they will need to look back at least for this week in order to be able to address the issues that caused such a lopsided loss. But after that, there's little doubt that the front window of the car will have the team's undivided attention as they try to put themselves showing in the 44-13 loss to Seattle behind them as quickly as possible. Shout out to Ross, man. He did a really good job on this article. Trying to, document and tell, everything that we got going on with the Saints, man, and it's just more of the same. But in the end, the reality is, can the Saints do what needs to be done to pull the game out? That's the bottom line. Now, I'm not going to tell you or say to you that, they don't have no chance. I give them a chance. I give them a small percentage of chance. I do realize that, that's a huge spread to have, 16.5 point to the Saints, everybody betting on them. I also know the corruption in the NFL too. Also know that if you betting against them, you can make a lot of money there. And sometimes they play games like that, where the referees all of a sudden will be very favorable for you. You'll get calls that you usually don't get called, like the call when the player got blocked in his back on the punt return that ended up for a touchdown. Referee didn't say it. Or how about the one with Spencer Rattler threw the ball and the defensive lineman who was on the ground reached up and grabbed Spencer and threw him on the ground, and the ball was way gone, and the guy standing right up there. Referee looked right at him and didn't throw the flag. Spencer Rattler got off the ground and was like, "What, dude? Where the guy grabbed me? The ball been gone." So I mean, when you're a garbage time team, the referees don't even respect you. Y'all notice that? When you're a terrible, crappy team, even the referees disrespect you. And it was several penalties that obviously were penalties. I mean, holding penalties, all of that. They just didn't give it to them. Even something as simple and clear as the guy reaching up and grabbing Spencer Rattler and throwing him on the ground, the ball being gone. It's just amazing. So if nobody's going to have respect for you, you got to have respect for yourself, because it happens. It comes from the inside out. Most people are not going to respect the person that don't have respect for themselves. That's just how it goes. You're going to have to bring that from you. That magnifies. Those great qualities always come from the inside out. Just like if you want to build a dominant team that can run the football or get after the quarterback, you build in the trenches. You build the team from the inside out. As you can see, we're still having issues from the inside out, which explains a lot about why. It doesn't explain everything, but it does show you that Cesar Ruiz is a weak link. We having issues with the guards. McCoy is not playing the McCoy-ish way that we like. We know we have young guys on these side. Tolly dealing with neck, my back. What's the name of that girl that had that song? My neck, my back. Y'all, I forgot her name, but he got something going on like that. And then you got Kelvin Banks Jr. on the other side, who's just an outright rookie. So I mean, he's gonna take his lumps and bumps. But the strength was supposed to be the veteran presence of what we had in the internal situation, which was led by McCoy and supposed to be Ruiz and whoever the left guard was. Now that Penning is supposed to be able to play. So you'll see Penning in there coming up soon at the guard position, maybe. We'll see how it all looks. So in the end, man, there is a percentage, a low percentage nonetheless, that they can improve. And even if they don't beat the Buffalo Bills, it's all about the effort. Like the team, if you fighting and clawing and showing them, hey man, this team got it going on. Buffalo has it going on. They got a good quarterback, good running game. They're completely a really good team. They're an elite level team. This team is good enough to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. That's how good Buffalo is. Josh Allen has really moved up in rank and is one of the top quarterbacks. Not the top, but he's in the conversation of being one of these top quarterbacks in the NFL that is guiding a team that is capable of winning a championship this year for Buffalo. And that's been something that's eluded them for years. So in the end, they are looked at as an elite level team. The Saints, this is a measuring match in sorts, right? We know that the teams fiddle-faddled around in weeks 1 and weeks 2. And really, I can look at them and understand to a degree what we're looking at, because the first couple of weeks, you're always going to be a little rusty. It's going to be rust and showed and all this kind of stuff. They kicked themselves in the butt in both those matchups. They had a lot of penalties that hurt. That third game was inexcusable. It was inexcusable because of the way they played, the way they were ill prepared, the way they showed no guts, no anything. People kept saying, Q, they was what they used. They called them they shell shocked. They called them shell shocked. Hell yeah, they were shell shocked. But that was just for one quarter. You had 3 quarters where they were trailing 21-0. What was it? 21-0 in the first quarter, 28, whatever it was. I think it was 21-0 in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. You still have 3 quarters of football left. The thing is, get your shit in gear. Let's see if we can grind down, make some stops, and put some touchdowns on the board. Let's move this stuff. Let's get this stuff going. It never materialized because they couldn't stop making mistakes. So that's a result of bad preparation. They're not practicing correctly. I don't know what they're doing, but it's most certainly, if they were doing something that was really effective, we wouldn't have seen such a categorically terrible game on all phases of it. Missed field goal, punt return for touchdown, 60-yard punt return to set up another score. The man was 14 of 18, throwing the ball, multiple touchdowns, all this kind of foolishness. And the Saints sitting there still collecting that check. They ain't dropped that damn check, though. None of them dropped that damn check. But in the end, that's what I'm saying. You can cuss at them, you can swear at them, you can do all this crap. You can show them the tape, but you can't put nothing in their chest. That's something that they have to have. And that's what I was saying about the Saints. 4 years of failure from players that have been under Dennis Allen. That's tough to come from up under. When you have players that was losing like that, and then not, and none of them for all those years of that failure, none of them was talking about no team meetings. I mean, they didn't talk about team meetings until they lost 5 or 6 games, or 6 or 7 games straight before they started talking about a team meeting. These are a pack of losers. That's why I said last year, used to be nobody sitting up here having a team meeting and a players only meeting, and they ain't even do that. Dennis Allen catered it. He's sitting up in there with the team. This players only, ain't got no coach, ain't supposed to be in there. It's a players only meeting, meaning the players is supposed to check the players. How the coach sitting his ass up in there and he bought the pizza for him. And then guess what happened? They still lost and he got fired. So, I mean, they couldn't even do that right. So what I'm saying in the end is you got to have some common sense here. This is not no complex shit. We're not putting formulas on the blackboard and working quantum physics to find out where the black hole's at or the portal's at so we can do whatever we need to do or find dark matter for another alternative source of power. We're not doing that. This is football. It's a children's game. You either have it or you don't. That's the bottom line. You either have it or you don't. You either have heart and you have toughness, heart, and accountability. You drop the goddamn ball, you pay for it. Take your ass to the sideline, do push-ups, some kind of way you got to get back for what you gave or how you hurt the team. There has to be some level of accountability, and it can't be a word that you spread around on the blackboard. It's got to be a way of life. It can't be something that you put on a shirt and walk around with. It's got to be something that you live by. That's what I'm talking about. And until you get that in your chest and in your mind, you're going to continue to fail repetitively over and over again. And that's what Coach Moore has to do. For guys who don't have it, they need to be benched. And for guys that are not, and this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing, man. You can't be afraid to construct the team that you need to be. If you got to trade certain guys, you got to trade them. It's better than those guys that leave and you get assets or get a player that can help you now moving forward than to sit up here and fail and have the fact that they still on the team when they retire. If we got to move guys out, this is a business. The business is winning. That's the bottom line. If these guys, I don't care who they are, if they're not helping us win, they have to go. That's the take that you have to have. I'm sorry, it sounds a little cold, but this is the life of the NFL. Let's not pretend like they don't know what they're in for and what they signed up for. Nobody's going to sit here and shelter a bunch of losers all the time and give them grace when we can look at the tape and see that they ain't hitting on shit. Come on. Let's keep it all the way funky if we're going to be funky. Let's tell the truth. Can't be accountability on the shirt or talk about live a life or whatever your boy phrased it, encourage. Nah, it's supposed to be accountability, bro. You catch the balls that thrown to you, you make the damn blocks, and you do what you're supposed to do. And if you can't do it, you are history. I'm sorry. We got to find the correct collection of people to help turn this thing around, because that's been the problem. Dennis Allen, the last 4 years, have infected these guys. A lot of these guys are affected and are addicted to losing and excuse making. I mean, that's real shit. I mean, that's serious shit. And that's a culture that's been perpetuated in the building, especially with Mickey Loomis. I've been talked about Mickey Loomis and told y'all and exposed Mickey Loomis for the flopping moron that he is. That's why I emulated his voice and made him into basically a cartoon character that people laugh at. Oh, hold on now, goddammit, Q. Hold on now. Yeah, hold on now. You're not going to make me out of character, goddammit. People laugh at that. I done turned him into I done memed him, basically. Hold on, goddammit, hold on. I done turned him into because he's a joke. I've been exposed Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis wasn't shit without Sean Payton and Drew Brees. He couldn't strike on it again. He couldn't. He hired Dennis Allen. If he was that, nobody would have hired Dennis Allen and got some fucking sense and then turn around and tell you that Dennis Allen is comparative with Bill Belichick and Walsh and what? Chuck Noll and what? This dude is a moron. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying, man. It's a lot of stuff going on, but on the field, relative on the field to play right now, Kellen Moore has to locate, number one, if you have a house and your house got termites in it, fam, and you got your children living up in the house and all your possessions and all that, and the house got termites, you know what you do? You call a goddamn exterminator. The first step is recognizing that your house have termites and saying, you know what, I'm starting to see some shit here. And how would you recognize you got termites? Your walls start looking kind of funny around certain kind of place. You see what I'm saying? There's signs that something's wrong here, right? Then when you see the signs, you call a professional. And then the professional will come and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I checked over. You got some termites. Good thing you called me. I could go ahead and take care of this for you. Your shit don't fall on your head. So you pay the man, you take care of business. What I'm saying is a process to recognize when you have a problem. You don't sit there in a delusionary state of mind thinking that you can be able to do this, that, and the third. No, deal with what you see what it is, deal with it. Locate the people that are the termites or the problem for your team. The Caesar chicken salad Ruizes and the Yiddims and some of these other players that simply don't have it. You're going to have to get those guys out and find ball players to come in there. If Blake Grupe misses another field goal, Blake Grupe needs to be in a tryout or if facing an end of losing his job. We can't have a kicker that averages a missed field goal every week. I don't care how much I like him. You can't have a field goal kicker that averages a miss every week. You can't do that. You can't have that. And then please, the Saints offense. Drew Brees said that didn't he say Philly? They got pissed about it. That Philadelphia's offense is boring. Well, guess who was running the Philadelphia's offense last year? It was the guy that's the head coach now. Let me tell you something. The Saints offense isn't that exciting either. I'm telling you the truth. I mean, for my tape watchers out there, For my tape watchers out there that watch the tape, if you don't watch the tape, sign up for patreon.com/the Pro Media Network or become a member of the channel. We do the film work here. And I'm going to tell you, the Saints offense isn't imaginative at all. And I'm sitting here watching it from 3 weeks and watching 3 weeks of film, and it hit me. I was like, okay. Let me see if they got some new wrinkles here. Fam, this offense is not what's up. I mean, it is a very dull offense, too. The offense is not a spectacular offense that Kellen Moore's running here. It involves a million draw plays to Elvin Kamara. I'm like, dude, it got so predictable that the Seattle Seahawks picked it up so well. And man, listen, bro, we have to switch that play calling up, man. For real, bro. We got to switch that play calling up offensively. We have to have more. And he's sending the motion and doing all this stuff with Elvin. Man, dude, no. We got to switch that up, bro. We got to do something a little bit more livid and better than what we've been doing. We are too predictable offensively. I mean, you watch the first 3 weeks of tape and you see all the comparisons of how the Saints are utilizing the fake draw with Elvin like it's a delayed draw that doesn't happen, and then they'll run either a pass or a run out of that delayed run. And it usually encompasses Elvin taking off and running either up to the center or the left or the right of the line. Put one in the chat if y'all know what I mean. This is a trend that's been happening the last 3 weeks. That's what's making it so relatively easy to game plan the Saints defense. I'm like, my God, dude, could we switch it up and do something else, please? And then defensively speaking, man, the last 2 weeks showed you all you need to know about the Saints defense with Staley. I mean, wasn't we supposed to run the 34 defense? The Saints, they're basically running the 4-2-5. Their base defense of 4-2-5. What was all this stuff about the 34 defense? You know, what's all this stuff about the 34? We don't do it as much as we need to do it. And really, that speed of that defense helps when you have faster linebackers. We, like I said before, we have two athletically challenged. I respect and love Demario Davis and Pete Werner equally. But my God, you know, these guys here, man, they're athletically challenged. Let's just keep it honest. And anytime Mac Jones, listen to me now, anytime Mac Jones and Sam Darnold can cook you like Sam Darnold and Mac Jones cook you, throwing behind. You can't get no pressure on them. You can't get pressure on Mac Jones and Sam Darnold, and they standing up there cooking you. That can't work, fam. We got to do we got to do something else. We can't let that happen. And then in the secondary, I'm not going to even go there, man. With Crystal Light McKinstry and Alante Taylor and all these guys. Oh my God. So anyway, in the end, there's a few things we need to do. And we need to change up a lot of stuff, fam, for real. And also, even before we even snap the ball and talk about running offensive, defensive plays, the Saints got to stop committing so many penalties. That's really shows that you have no disrespect to them, but they'll say that. And I've said, the Saints are really collectively stupid as a football team. The pre-snap penalties speak to two things: the overall intelligence of your team and the overall discipline of your team. The intelligence is predicated based on a practice, the high IQ you're exhibiting in practice to understand the pre-snap penalty, pre-snap plays and what you're supposed to do, the counts and all this kind of stuff. When they were in Seattle, they knew they would have to have a silent count. The Saints did not run the silent count. They didn't do too much of anything well at all. So it just shows that whatever they were practicing in that week leading up to last week's matchup, I'm not going to even say it was practice, because whatever your preparation leading into the game or whatever you did was supposed to show in the game. the way that team looked, it's like they didn't do any practice. I don't know what the hell it was doing, but I don't know what it was. But on tape, guys were missing blocks. Guys were running into each other blocking. I seen Ruiz literally block his own man. He collided with his own man and blocked his own man. I was like, what is going on here, bro? This doesn't make any sense. All I could do is sit up here and laugh about the shit, man. We got cooked by Sam Darnold and what's the guy and Mac Jones. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 3 weeks up to this point, I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. I'm sitting there coming into week 2. I'm like, oh man, Brock Purdy's not going to be in there. Brandon Ayuk is not in the game. George Kittle's in the. Oh man, we got this. Man, come on, we got this. L, collect your L, staged right. Next week, Seattle. Oh man, we got it. It's Sam freaking Darnold for all people. It's Sam Darnold. Oh, that guy, this Sam freaking Darnold here. He ain't working with. And guess what? Sam Darnold cooked him, fricasseed, barbecue, shish kebabbed him. What other we got? What other cooking terms we have here? I mean, whatever you can come up with, boiled, baked, everything that you could come up with. They did that. They did that to the Saints in Seattle. So, like I said, man, this is not as simple as, hey, the Saints need to go and practice better. Fam, this is something mental to the collective of the team. They're missing like basic courage, intelligent accountability. I'm like, what? How are they this bad in terms of their thought process? You can't win as a team if you don't encompass those thought processes. You can't win as a team because most of the teams that are winning in the NFL, they embody those principles. You got to be accountable. You know, and the coach has to make you pay if you do something to hurt the team. He has to be honest with the film he's looking at. And if he sees this Ruiz guy keep struggling, he has to bench him for the good of the team and the good of Ruiz, because a good benching might make him get his stuff straight. I mean, if you're playing that poorly and you get benched, that's a part of the organic and natural way things are supposed to flow. Perhaps that turns Ruiz into a better player than he's ever been by benching his ass, forcing him to work on stuff that I know he ain't working on right now. You see? So, I mean, in the end, man, we'll see how this works. But like I said, man, I'm not going to get too down on about this whole situation, man, after looking at it, because I was talking talent coming into the season, talking about what's this, that, and the third. Then I recognized that the Saints had an issue in terms of not talent, but the veterans wasn't handling their business. The veterans wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. So, like I said, man, we'll see, bro, because I'm very interested to see how they respond and how well this team play and come back from this, man. Because in the end, we still Who That's, man. We're gonna still watch the games, even if they're bad. We still gonna have some fun to the best of our ability, crack some jokes, and just suffer together. And just laugh at all of the F stuff that the Saints be doing. That's bottom line. That's all I could do. Anyway, man, listen, man, I'm not going to try to keep y'all too long. Let me get some. Barbara says, stop laughing, Q. Barbara is funny. It is. Shout out to the queens in here. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to her, Beverly. What's up, Bev? How you doing? Big ups. Y'all see, I'm saying, fam, I'm laughing because it's really a way to stop from crying. How we lose to Sam Darnold, fam? That is awful. You don't lose to Mac Jones and Sam Darnold in back-to-back weeks. How you lose to Mac Jones and Sam Darnold? And fam, they made them look like they knew what they were doing. And they heard me. Sam Darnold had 4. He had 4 incompletions. I'm like, what is this crap? That's Sam Darnold. We supposed to have 3 interceptions on Sam Darnold, and one of them a pick six. 2 pick sixes off his tree. Oh my God. It's awful. But it is, yeah. So like I said, man, it's a funny thing, man. We're gonna see. Montreal said the Saints gonna win 7 games this year. Bro, at this stage, bro, we'd be lucky to win 5 games. They are the thing that I can deal with, like talking about fixing the catches, the drop catches, and all this kind of stuff. But fam, the Saints it's the intangible stuff. That stuff that fam, listen, how can I explain this here? Let me take my time on this one. Let me slow walk this one. The stuff that they supposed to have, the internal intangible stuff that a team, I don't care what sport it is, that is supposed to have to represent a winning culture, the Saints are lacking that. And also, they are supposed to have developed that in the offseason, meaning OTAs, training camp, all this kind of stuff, these team building exercises in the offseason, all of the off-season training programs, whether the mandatory camps and the 3 camps they went to before they got to the big camp, and then hitting into preseason, all of that is where they were supposed to develop the internal, the intangible stuff that we talk about that galvanize and crystallize teams to be able to deal with the adversity that will be represented in the regular season of football. They were supposed to have developed that during the summer before we got here. It appears that they are severely lacking a lot of that. And that to me is concerning because the captains, the team captains, those are some of the best players we have. They're some of our better players. Where is that at? You see what I'm saying? It is those players who are failing us. You can't, usually you could point to the young people and say, well, we got a bunch of young people, they got to learn, right? Like people, that's why they picked the Saints to be bad. Not because of they think that the veterans was going to start failing us early on, but they were saying because of the inexperienced quarterbacks that we had. They were trying to say that Spencer, he only had 6 or 7 games worth of experience coming into the season, and that is why the Saints will be a bad team because of the inexperience at the quarterback position. Them people couldn't have possibly dreamed that if the Saints were struggling coming into this year, it would not be Spencer. It would be the veterans that he's throwing the ball to that are not making the plays, and the ones that's supposed to be up front that's supposed to be blocking for him. Or the defensive personnel that can't generate a pass rush. Or the older players that get passed behind. They can't even cover the coverage. They can't cover that. Alontae Taylor getting cooked. We know that Kool-Aid McKinstry coming into this year will have some issues coming into his sophomore year. I understood and knew that. I was like, sometimes they deal with it. You have those times. He's going through that sophomore stuff right now. He getting people jumping over the top of him. He getting burnt. They testing him. They having great success against him 3 weeks straight. He had the coolest nickname on the team. It has been downgraded from Kool-Aid McKinstry to Crystal Light McKinstry. That's diabolical work. Crystal Light McKinstry. He's been downgraded to Crystal Light McKinstry. Yeah. He will not get that back until he gets better. So, and then Justin Reed is doing his thing as well. So Jonas is back there. He's a young safety trying to learn the game. That guy, what's his name? Yidam. Oh my God. Yidam is, it's just, it is simply what it is. So there are some struggles. Some of these veterans are simply not doing their thing. They're not leading these young guys anywhere. And I guarantee you, the reason why they can't step up and be leaders is because they're the ones at fault. They're the ones that's dropping the passes. They're the ones that's blowing the blocks. They're the ones that's taking poor angles. They're the ones that's missing tackles. They're the ones that's misreading what the offense has got going on. They're the ones that's missing field goals. So how could those guys who are responsible for a lot of the fumbling, bumbling things that are happening to the team turn around to the youngsters and say, hey, y'all got to do better? You can't. He can't, because he would then be, sir, one of the largest, stinkiest hypocrites that you ever possibly have seen. The veterans are hurting the Saints. And it's because the overall intelligence of the team is not there. It's crazy. No discipline, no intelligence. Look at all these stupid pre-snap penalties. The Saints got 30 penalties, and what is it? 30-something penalties? It's more than that. I know it's 30-something penalties in 3 games. That is absolutely mind-boggling and ridiculous all at the same time. To have that many stupid penalties speaks to the overall intelligence and discipline of your team. That's what it is. And that is what they were supposed to develop in the summertime. And it's amazing to me that they're not exhibiting that through 3 weeks of football. Even if they weren't winning games and they were competitive, you would still see some of that crop up, or you would see improvement happen from week to week as they were recognizing and fixing it. But they recognize it, but why can't they fix it? Because they don't have no discipline, or perhaps they simply don't know how to stop it. Well, you just stop it, right? We got to fix it. All of a sudden, I'm spinning the cleanup man every damn time now. Now it's it's the cleanup man. I spent the last on Monday's show 3 times. The man kept saying, "We got to clean it up. We got to clean it up. Got to clean it up." So in the end, man, like I said, man, what they're dealing with right now is something that they were supposed to develop in the summertime. I don't know how they fix it from this point forward. I just the veterans have to be there. They have to. The veterans have to step up, and they have to do better than what they've been doing. They have to stop all this nonsense, all this bullshit, and they have to play at a higher level. They're getting paid to. A lot of these guys are very good, and they're not playing with that confidence. They're not playing with that intelligence. They're not playing with any of that, and that is the shame. So anyway, I ain't going to berate and running it down. But anyway, let me get to some of the questions, fam. Y'all got questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll go from that. Shout out to my boy KT. He says, gut the roster, trade assets to acquire more draft capital, and most importantly, make Mickey Loomis step down as GM. Now, see, that's the thing, though, KT. When you talk about gutting the roster, that's not in the mindset of the general manager, and that's where the problem starts, because you're talking about team building, right? You're talking about team building. As long as Mickey Loomis is the general manager, you're not going to see a radical improvement insofar as him wiping the roster away and creating a whole new roster. They're not even drafting well. Like, this last draft was a very solid draft to start with because they're getting value out of the picks. But prior to that, a lot of the draft picks that we were picking up, guys that were not even contributing. Isaiah Foskey was a 40th overall pick, and they cut him in the 3rd year. They didn't wait till he was that bad. The Davenport pick, or what's his name? Peyton Turner, Foskey. All these guys are the guys that they're drafting are not contributing in a way where, we can build the team around some of these guys. And even last year, like the Pete Werner thing should have came down to a battle between him and Willie Gay for the money. And for whatever reason, Loomis just paid Pete Werner, just paid him out of the blue. It's like, hold on, or you can wait later on to pay him. Why he just paid him out of the blue? While really the priority was Elvin Kamara, but he paid Werner. He paid him. So that's the problem. You're not going to get rid of him unless somebody buys the team and they bring in their own team. Gail is not going to dibble dabble. She's only going to fire the coach because you forced her to. But when it came down for her to move Mickey off that, she doesn't have none of that vision. She don't have no vision about, okay, we're going to slide you here and do that. She's not going to do that. Even the personnel, any people that's being hired into the executive side of things, those guys, Mickey Loomis is picking them. Like I said, he's still retaining the general manager job. See, people talk about getting rid of him as a general manager. The guy has several people doing the general manager job for him. He hired Dimitrov to act as some type of advisor. He'll just basically slice off one of the duties that he's supposed to be doing at the general manager position. He got Kai as an assistant general manager. He has him crafting contracts and doing stuff. So, and he has Randy Mueller there too. And he uses Ireland from a position from two to do certain things. So he just outsourced the duties of the general manager position while keeping hold to the general manager title so he can stand in front of the media and be the face of the team when he feel like he needs to. Even though he claims that he doesn't like to speak to the media, even though we know he's an attention whore. So that's what I'm saying. Unless they change no change is going to happen. And Lauscher's no ask for Dennis Lauscher to do it either, because Dennis Lauscher don't know shit about football on the field. He's a businessman. He's as clueless as Gail is when it comes down to football on the field matters. He literally on interviews refers to all football questions to Mickey Loomis. He literally does that. So I mean that's the conundrum that we currently find ourselves in. But the Kellen Moore hire was solid, but Kellen has to kind of put his foot down on some of this other stuff right here. He don't have to cuss at them damn guys. You have to cuss at them. Just take their damn job away. That's one way you really tell players who are struggling, who are not doing what they're supposed to do, and let them know we ain't playing no games. Just take their damn job away from them and bench him. And if he's worth anything, he'll work his ass off to get the job back. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what we need here. Yeah, Kevin Austin says, yeah, he making too much. He got to. It's not so much the money, bro. He's accrued a certain amount of power, and he knows Gale is clueless and Lausch is clueless. He got two people above him that he knows is over relying on him. English says, you're right, Q. Players Loomis and Allen soured the game for a lot of guys. There's not going. That's why I said a rebuild. I told people over and over again, fam, listen to me. Mickey Loomis does not believe in rebuilds. That's why he does. That's how he constructs the team. He'll have older players he'll hold on to, and then he'll bring undrafted guys in and try to bring them in and move the team forward into the future like that. But when you're talking about him getting rid of all the old people and then having a total new team, he's not into that. He's not going to, he doesn't like that style. That's why you never seen us have that kind of thing. When Katrina hit, the Saints had no choice but to do that. They had no choice. They were forced into that. But if he can control it, which he is, he's not going to do that. He's not going to go to a rebuild model. He's not going to do that. He's going to hold on to old players and then bring in new players. And he'll even sign veterans that are, older veterans and bring them onto the team. He'll never totally go young. So anyway, yeah, all right. Anyway, Duke says pre-snap penalties is ridiculous. That is intelligence, bro, and discipline. Anybody will tell you that. The pre-snap penalties is caused by the team. They self-sabotage. That's low IQ football, and that's undisciplined team. If you have a lot of pre-snap penalties and stuff like that, you're not prepared to play football, and you're going to lose a lot of games. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and you're acting as a saboteur for your own success. Never mind what your ops going to do or the referee's going to do. It's crazy. SJC Ruiz might struggle and pop water. All right, Saints Full Circle Podcast. What's up, bro? Says Q. Jalen Ford had a pick in the preseason. Being true to his gap, fell right in his hands. We need bro. Jalen Ford had over 200 tackles in the last couple of years at the University of Texas. He has good speed. That's why the Saints drafted him. He was a solid pickup. Very solid pickup. The guy can cover the field. The problem is we have older players. We got an old DeMario. They're not going to take DeMario off the field. Pete Werner, we've seen a play where you've seen Isaiah Stallberg come in and played, and Stallberg put a blitz and he got a deflection. Y'all remember that? The Stallberg came in. So you could see him pulling Werner off the field for Stallberg. But in my thing, I think that's a waste. Why would I need to gamble with that if I got to pull you off on the athlete? If pull you off there, I think really they need to consider trading Pete Werner for real. You cannot run this style of defense unless you have really run it to the max, unless you have guys that can cover a lot of field, that can drop in coverage, that can cover the tight ends, that can drop in coverage and cover space. Because if the quarterback trying to break on the ball, if the athletic linebacker there, he cover a lot of space and get to it, knock it down, intercept it, his closing speed is big. Like I said, I love Pete Werner, but this style of defense that Staley wants to run, where linebackers have to be speedy, you might have to consider moving because Demario Davis is, I say he's done after this year. His contract is up. He's going into whatever he's going to do. Pete Werner still have years left on his contract. But if you want to have linebackers like a Stutzman, and Stutzman might not be super fast, but he's faster than Werner, you might have to consider moving some of these other guys in to help the overall speed of the defense because opposing ops are recognizing that that's a liability. So, yeah, indeed, bro. All right, 504 says, take AK away, we lose Olave, soft Shaheed, one-trick pony, Cooks, just collecting a paycheck. O-line is disjointed. This is the disaster cure. Yeah, and I've questioned, we talked about the Brandon Cooks thing. That's a caveat that a lot of people are not talking about. If you look at the film, there's so much going wrong, it's hard to kind of divvy out everything, right? Because you see how terrible Ruiz look, you see this going on, that going on. But fam, that last tape, and trust me, the first 2 weeks he was doing it, but it took up to the third. It was like, man, this guy can't block. The Saints have him out here on blocking situations, and he's a terrible blocker. I mean, he is not doing a good job at all of blocking for the guys in front. He's a horrible blocker. And I question why we have a little small ass guy like that out there trying to do that anyway. But they got a little small guys that can block. But this dude here is horrible, man. Absolutely horrible. We got to do something about that. KT said Lante equals Alizé Taylor. Express lane because it's easy to pass on him. Fred 2.0. I ain't gonna go that far, KT, on Alante Taylor. I like Alante Taylor. It's just when it rains, it pours, man. They might have to make an adjustment. I don't know what they're going to do about the Kool-Aid thing. I mean, the Crystal Light McKinstry thing. What's up, Jay Sticks? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you as well. All right, 504 says, we got nothing to lose to go get CD to shake things up. I don't know. I doubt that, bro. I'd be surprised. It wouldn't be surprised because they could use help at the cornerback position. Texans let CD Deuce go. Could it be a situation where he comes back to New Orleans? What could CD Deuce do for the Saints? Could he be an upgrade? What we got going on, or would he upset the apple cart a bit? CD's kind of thrown off, man. And plus he can't stay healthy. So what kind of CD Deuce are we getting at this stage of his at this stage of development, right? You know what I'm saying? But but would it help your secondary? You got to say it does, right? You got to say it does. All right, Falco says Chase Young is stealing money. Yeah, he's supposed to be. We'll see, man. They say it's soon. That's all they said about it. Question Q for the fam: should we draft Jeremiah Smith or Delaney in the first round? Oh, that's a tough one, man. I'm gonna have to go with my LSU guy. Delaney's balling, bro. Mansour Delaney, LSU safety. He looks good back there, man. He balling for us, man. All right. Fabrico says that Crystal Light shaking my head and Yidam is deep. Yeah, they get deep fried. Barbara says build trenches in the draft. Indeed, Barbara. I think the guard position is something that we really need to focus on. For the Saints to have the true success that we need to have, they have to build on those lines. Now, they did make some trades. They bring Devine Gacho in from New England with the 7th-round draft pick. They did that. They held on to Nate Shepard. They got rid of Bink Saunders for a center to help improve the offensive line. So they did a few things, some of the best things they can do in terms of that. They traded for the tackle, Hakeem Richards, who looked absolutely horrible. I know he's a backup, but boy, did Hakeem Richards, did anybody see Hakeem Richards on tape? Did y'all see he on tape? And I know it's his first game, he covering for Tyler, but boy, did he look awful. Boy, he was beat. He just didn't look good in that first out. Jay Rideout said, what up, Q? Fam, question is Moore in over his head? And should he think about handing some of his responsibilities over until he gets the hang of things, like hand over play calling, for example? Wouldn't be a bad idea for him. Focus. I don't think he does that, but you got to look at it and says, he's a rookie coach and he thought things, I don't know what he thought, but thinking things would be a lot smoother. You got a good quarterback there. And, and listen, this threw me for a loop because everyone by default would say, okay, if the Saints struggle, it's because of inexperienced players, right? That is the default thinking. But that is the thing that I'm pinpointing, family, that is totally not completely true. The Saints are struggling in many different ways, but from what I see, it's the veterans. The veterans are not consistent. You know, and case in point, drop touchdown pass. The Olave drop touchdown pass. And week 2, he catches that ball. The Saints win that game. The first week, drop first down passes, drop passes, drop touchdown pass at the end of the game. Missed field goals. If the veterans handle their business and do what they're supposed to do, the Saints are at least 2-1 now. You know, where's the veteran leadership for the young guys? Where is that at? You know, so you can't blame a young guy for being a young guy, but the veteran and getting paid all his money, where's his leadership at to make sure the team stays settled? The veterans are failing the Saints. I don't think anybody's seen that. I don't think anybody's seen that. You can say that. That's why, like I said, the national people were saying the Saints were going to be bad because of the inexperienced quarterback. But the veterans are the reason why the Saints 0-3 is because there is no leadership here. The veterans are failing the Saints. The veterans are dropping these passes. The veterans are missing these tackles. The veterans are, a lot of these veterans, Ruiz in particular, are blowing blocks. You know, so it's a lot of stuff going on, but I put all of that shit on the shoulders of the veterans because they're supposed to be the strength of the team. They're supposed to be the leaders of the team. These guys wearing C's on their jerseys. Where are these guys at? You know, that's the truth. You hear me? That's the damn truth. All right, what's up, Brian? Shout out to Brian, man. He says, hi, Mark Stadium versus Buffalo Bills. In football, greatest current player is not when you have a turning point. This roster lacks talent and will continue to lack talent as long as Loomis is here. I hear what you're saying, brother Brian. I don't see him as lacking talent. The Saints have really good players on this team. Alvin Kamara is a top 5 running back in the NFL. Chris Olave he ain't a number 1 receiver, but he's still a very good wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed is very good. You know, Juwan Johnson, as inconsistent as he is still a decent tight end option for you, right? And then you go to the defense, there are people there. But what I'm saying is they have the talent, but it's necessary what you doing with it. You have to remember that old adage about what head coaches would tell us about, okay, you put your players in a position to win. You know what I'm saying? You can have the most talented players in the world. If you're not putting them in positions to win or have a clear game plan on what you want them to do, you're going to fail repetitively. It doesn't matter how talented they are. Case in point, we had Zach Bond here for his full contract length in terms of his rookie contract. We had Zach Bond here for his entire rookie contract, right? And then Zach Bond wanted to stay with the Saints, and he just asked Allen to be having it as a starter. He told him, no, we got a backup role. He said, okay, I'm going. Went to Philadelphia and became one of their best players. He was instrumental in helping them win a championship. What is that telling you? That you can have talented players, but if you don't have a clear vision for these people and a way to implement them in your system successfully, then it doesn't make any difference how fast or how big or how strong these people are, how smart these people are. If you don't have a clear vision of how you want to implement them into your system successfully, it doesn't make a hill of beans, right? So that's my case in point. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what you're saying in terms of that. I do think they have the talent, but like I said, look what they're doing. These guys, Chris Olave had 8 catches for like less than 60 yards, right? We know Chris dropped the touchdown in week 2. We know Juwan Johnson dropped the touchdown pass. They said that he ripped the ball out of there. You can look at the footage on it. When you catch the ball, and everybody knows this, you can watch the coaches tell you that when they talking to you about stuff. For my people that didn't play football before, you can listen to the professional coaches to tell you that. In training camp, when they get out there and talk about ball placement, and not only that, but ball securement, they show you or talk to you about how the players, when they're working on the jug machines or they're working with the tight ends catching the ball, they got a drill that they run those guys with, where when they catch the ball, they secure the ball. They're trained to catch the ball. I don't care what position you are. If you put your hands on the ball, you're supposed to put it in. You're supposed to pull it in. Not to mention the additive that you have sticky gloves. Those gloves have stickum on it. They got a sticky substance on the glove that help you catch the damn ball. So a lot of the one hand grabs, like, oh, that's spectacular. Shit got sticky gloves on it, got stickum on it. It helps you catch the damn ball. But I'm saying even that wasn't enough. That man put both the hands on that ball. You're supposed to put that ball in the cradle and put both arms, one on top and one on the bottom, and hold that ball as you crashing down to the ground. Ain't nobody supposed to pull a ball out of your arms. No one hand ain't supposed to pull a ball out of two arms cradling in the ball like that. That ain't supposed to happen. I know you can't tell me shit because I played tight end in school. When I played fullback, I did a little tight end, and I did linebacker in high school. And that the coach always talked to you about that. There was a drill that the Saints run that you could put it on film where it shows they catch the ball and then they run through padding, and there's a guy with something trying to hit the ball, and he makes sure he grapples the ball with both hands. Put one in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. So all these people out here trying to make excuses about bullshit, about ball placement, and not ball plays, about them securing the ball once they catch it. Either they don't know what the hell they talking about, man. That's why the man stood up there and said, "Yeah, I gotta catch that ball. I put my hands on that ball." He did not secure that ball. That's a touchdown ball. That ball was an urgent and important pass that decided to tie the damn game. No guy hand's supposed to pull that out of there if you got it on two arms and cradling it. Unless that some bitch is Superman or the Incredible Hulk. That's the only two people that's going to pull that ball out with one hand. So anyway, man, like I said, the veterans, my spiel is the veterans are hurting the Saints. They are. The veterans, there's no leadership from these guys, and these guys are dropping touchdown passes, blowing blocks, missing tackles, missing field goals. It's the veterans. It's not the young people. That's what got people messed up in the game about the Saints. What's up, Backwood? Shout out to you. All right. Big ups to y'all, man. Good talking to you. Brian says Kellen needs to make his coaching staff be more assertive since he's not an alpha type of personality. I mean, you know, and we talked about this too, brother Brian. You're making some great points in the chat, my brother. Thank you for that. This is the thing we talked about because that brings up something we talked about before. Kellen Moore is not a cursor. He's not Sean Payton. He damn sure ain't Jim Moore, right? Jim Moore will cuss at you, fuss at you. He'll go on a 20-minute tirade cussing you out about. That's what Jim Moore was. He was a guy, I think he was in the service or something. In the Navy, I think he was a Navy man, and all that sailor, he brought all that shit into the league with him. But he's not that. He's more closer, not saying his coaching abilities, but his, in terms of him being a not quiet coach, but a mild-mannered coach like a Tony Dungy or a Jim Caldwell. That type of coaching tree, right? Not tree in terms of them being trained by them, but in terms of similarities, right? That's what I'm saying. You know, he's not going to point at you. He's not going to berate you. He's not going to do that. That's not who he is and how he is. But you don't have to be that. You don't have to be the cursor or the guy. Now, you do have to be stern. And like I said, the best way he can gain respect from people, they say that they like him, but they're not doing nothing to win for him. They all of them saying, we love Kellen Moore. You know, he took us to, we went up there to the paintball. We played paintball together. All this other kind of stuff. But you got love for him. I heard DeMario Davis talking about, yeah, Kellen Moore's this, that, and the third. Cam Jordan's, yeah, we love Cam. We love Kellen Moore. But then they can't win a game for him. They can't make him look good. You know? But the outside of that, the thing is, the part about it is he don't have to get, you know, be a cursor or a finger pointer. He don't have to do that. Just when he recognizes guys doing what they're not supposed to do, bench their asses. When you see a guy missing 3 straight weeks of field goals, bring in a kicker and try him out. Guys dropping passes, let's bring some wide receivers in. Guys missing tackles, let's try out some linebackers. Guys blowing blocks, here goes some offensive linemen coming in here. Come on. I mean, you want to get these guys' attention, you start challenging their jobs, fam. That you don't have to curse at them, you have to point at them, you don't have to threaten them. That's how you get their attention. You bench these guys. Guys didn't think they was going to get benched because their first round draft picks getting benched because their production stinks. Or if they making $9 million over 3 years, they think they got a job. No sirree. No, sir. Just because you got the contract, that don't mean you sit on your ass and put it in cruise control. No, it's time to work, to earn. That's what I was saying about Jawan Johnson. Just because they gave you that money, Jawan, and made you $10 million richer for the next 3 years, Jawan, does not mean that you could put it in cruise control. What it means is now they're requiring you to become a top notch, at least a top 8 or top, I ain't gonna say 5 because I don't think he can do that. But because of his temperament, you got to be a dog in your head about that. You can't be complacent with the money. You get like, okay, I got this bread. Now I want to be a top 10 NFL tight end. I'm getting paid top 12 money. Let me get up here with the top 10 guys. Let me work on my blocking. Let me work on that damn jugs machine, because that's the problem. Get your ass on that jug machine. And even I even kidded and say he need to find a jug machine subliminal. When he go to sleep at night, he put it on his damn phone. I will catch the ball. I will. You see what I'm saying? Get a goddamn ball catching subliminal and play it every damn night. Whatever it takes to get better, do it. Because you get that's what you got to do. You got to handle the business, man. You heard me? All right, Mac and G says Stutzman's another Pete Werner trash and cover. He ain't slow. I've seen Stutzman, bro, is faster than Pete Werner. He ain't the super fastest guy in the world, but he faster than Warner, bro. All right, Quaveda says, Q, I've been saying that once you went to the Staley defense, you need to go younger and athletic with exactly, because they have to cover in defense because of the zone coverages, indeed. And that's why it looks so bad. And it really looks, you know what, Quaveda, you're right, but it looks really terrible because the Saints are not generating a pass rush, which is putting major stress on the linebackers in the secondary. That has to produce pressure for the quarterback to be flushed out or make him make early decisions. You can't allow that guy to just stand back there and go through his progressions and throw the damn ball. That's not going to cut it. That's a recipe for disaster. Tim said nobody can cover all day. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Jay says, since we talking about LSU, they should try to bring in Ramos to compete. I'm with it, bro. Let's bring him in. Tragedy says we need to build the trenches, trade away our high-priced luxury skill position players. Time to rebuild. But but isn't there a better way, bro, to do it? And who's willing to? What players are you looking at trading for to give up? So you would rather give up a Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed? It's some questions the Saints have to come up with, because they obviously are looking into the future, because when they traded away a pick, or how many picks was it for Jalen Polk, the wide receiver we picked? Wasn't it 2 draft picks the Saints gave up to get? No, I think it was 1. Y'all remind me that we got traded so many picks is ridiculous this year. But giving up a pick for Jalen Polk, a wide receiver, that's a good possession wide receiver who runs a 4.52 or something, whatever it is, and he's not going to be available to next year, puts me in the mind that the Saints are looking at the wide receiver position for the future, because Rashid Shaheed's contract is up at the end of this year. Chris Olave has 2 more years left on his contract. So, they could be thinking well, maybe not Loomis, but Kellen Moore could be thinking in terms of that, right? But I don't know, bro. I think, you're right about the trenches, bro. We have to get much better in those trenches, right? Brian adds, James Cook is the best running back in the sport right now on fantasy. Yeah, the running back for the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be a big test for us, no doubt about it. T-Roy said, what's really going on with Chase? Well, we covered that early in the stream, bro. They said Chase Young is close. That's what the term was, close to coming back. Now, what does that mean? That we'll see him practice tomorrow and finally Friday? We have no idea. We just have to wait and see. But Kellen Moore said that he's close. So you would think as close would be might be ready for this weekend. I don't know. His destination was DMP today. So we'll see how it goes forward. Soul Visionary says our D has 4 years or so been killed by crossing routes over the middle and by tight ends. 9 athletic linebackers, bro. You got to have linebackers that's fast enough. Bro, if you're going to run that type of system, a linebacker's fast enough to cover tight ends and running backs out of the backfield, right? And good enough to drop into coverage, because it's a lot that you're asking for your linebackers to cover in the center of the field. They have to have that closing speed to be able to get there, and our linebackers simply do not have that, right? Barbara says maybe Morris calling plays to fit his ability to calling plays to fit the abilities of his players. All right. Yeah, you could be on to something right there, Barbara. All right. Who else we got here? All right. What's up, brother Trine? Shout out to Trine, bro. How you doing, my brother? Good to see you. All right. And Brian's dropped some good science. Says historically, this team lacks talent, a few good players here and there, but it doesn't change his roster. It's good. Remember the one? Yeah, I remember that Calvin Johnson. Yeah, I remember, bro. Yeah, yeah, but that's a little. I don't know. I don't remember that team, the fullness of the team, man. To be honest with you, Tron says Chris Olave, half running routes. All right. All right. And so thanks Full Circle Podcast says Q Spence also mentioned something about wide receiver drills after the route breakdown. I learned that plan. Pick. Okay, there you go. All right. Brian says Chuck needs to start versus Buffalo. Rattler going 0-10 as a starter is unnecessary. But it's about the maturity of the, like, do you really want to pull? Because Spencer Rattler's not the reason why the Saints, I mean, listen, he's not perfect out there, but you have to admit that Spencer Rattler is giving his wide receivers opportunities. You know, it's just they're not, for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on with the wide. Like what really is infuriating me is like the Elvin Kamara play. There was, man, I don't know what Elvin Kamara was doing on that play. He was running and then turned around and started backpedaling. I'm like, if he would have just stayed facing and running toward the end zone, he would have ran under that ball. That would have been a touchdown. I mean, it's just hit or miss there. It's like he's putting the ball to these guys. The drop touchdown pass by Chris Olave, the drop one at the end of the game with Juwan in the first week. I mean, he's giving these guys opportunity. He ain't perfect, but he is giving guys opportunity to make plays. And a lot of time you see the shorter or the mid-range passes. If you look at the film, the offensive line is not giving them a lot of time to progress. I mean, he does have a few times when he did, because it was at least 3 times that I've seen on film, at least 3, where he had better options to go to. For whatever reason, he threw to guys. Like he had one where he threw a terrible ball in the triple coverage. He had one where he threw a ball toward the sideline that wasn't even close. So his accuracy must improve. I'm not saying that he's perfect. I can literally break his game apart and say, well, he needs to do this, that, and third. So I know what people, I'm not absolving of anything. All I'm saying is he does give his wide receivers an opportunity to make plays for touchdowns, to score or do something like that. It's just not working. That's something they got to work on. I don't know if you taking Spencer Rattler out and putting Tyler Shuck in there is going to improve or help that. I mean, really, you might want to keep Tyler Shuck out of the way, to be honest with you, and let Spencer Rattler run that. Because if you put Tyler Shuck in there against that Buffalo Bills defense with Bosa and them guys, and they tear his ass down, that wouldn't be a good look. So I would not, if he's supposed to be the future, you might not want to expose him to the Buffalo Bills team coming right out of the way. It might be shades of Ian Book. You might be seeing signs of Ian Book. I'm just keeping it real, man. That I don't know about that one, my brother. You know, we might have to look. You might want to leave Spencer in there, boy. It might be a situation where we might have some Ian Book sighting in the personage of Tyler Shuck. We might won't see him against that Buffalo D, bro. Yeah. Facts Q. They say he taught us an arm if you want to straighten some. That's you talking about Jim Moore. Yeah, bro. All right. Yeah, they gave up a 6. Okay, yeah, for Jalen Polk. All right. Yeah, so we, as always, man, I hear you, KT says, Q, we better not give number 1 wide receiver money. You talking to Mickey Loomis, bro. If that comes out, that's a decision Mickey Loomis makes, bro. If Chris Olave has a decent, and he's already the top receiver on the team right now. He had 8 passes. He's the number 1 receiver on the team right now. That's really not, those 8 catches were really not effective for us. That catch the ball 8 times for less than 60 yards or something. That's really not effective. Trey said it's an exercise in extreme patience. This is still technically Dennis Allen's team. I don't know about that, but there are certain elements that's embedded, no doubt about it, bro, in the team from Dennis Allen, bro. Close zone counts in horseshoes. Close zone counts out, counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. There you go, KT. All right. Anyway, man, listen. Yes. Y'all got some great comments, man. Yeah, that bro, Ian Book, man, you put Tyler Shuck in there against the Buffalo Bills defense, bro. Dude, that's and then if he struggles and looks horrible, and then you have to go back to Spencer Rattler. Oh, dude, that I wouldn't want to do that to Tyler Shuck. Spencer is not doing a job so bad that he needs to be pulled out of there. That's not what I'm seeing. I mean, maybe y'all disagree with me, but that's not what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing that at all. English says our lines are both on both sides are the worst in the league. Guys fighting air. Yes, indeed, bro. We stink. Dinky donkey do, bro. And KT says Shuck is not the future dude. He will be collecting AARP at the end of his rookie. That's not what Kellen Moore says. Kellen Moore sees Tyler Shuck as the future, bro. Yeah, I know. Soul Visionary says that Miami game kill Ian Book. Right. The Saints, even the Saints got rid of that man, I think it was the very next year. They got rid of him after that. Or was it the same year? I want to say it was the same year because the prospects with Ian Book were very high. But boy, after that Miami Dolphins game, they seen something mental must have happened because he crashed and burned in a way which you were like, man, that's hard for a young quarterback to come back. It's almost like it's severe damage to him that you have to get him to come back from something like that. And then the Saints allowed him to go. I think they released him or trade or something. I don't know. They got rid of him, and the Eagles picked him up on their practice squad. But yeah, I would never want to do that to my young quarterback again. I never want to see that happen to my young quarterback again. Yeah. All right, Five Who says Q. Why Lavi not running the D? I don't know. That's scheme, bro. That's what that's the mindset. That's what I was trying to say earlier during the season. Like, dude, why don't we have a big physical wide receiver to go next to Chris Olave and let Chris Olave be that deep route guy? He excels at that. When he was doing it when Michael Thomas was on the opposite side and he was doing that, he excelled in that role. They're trying to turn him into something that he isn't. He's not that guy. He's not a Garrett Wilson. He's not even a Terry McLaurin. He's not that guy. If you put him in a role that he served when he was with Michael Thomas, you can see he can benefit from that. I don't know why they're doing that, bro. That's one thing. That's one of those things where you got to know your personnel. Brian says Michael Penix getting drafted was absolutely horrible. Management, y'all seen that game, bro. He got benched in that game, didn't he? They lost 30-0 to the Carolina Panthers, man. My dogs Shad and Dave and them, they were happy, man. When Bryce and the Carolina Panthers beat them 30-0, I couldn't even brag, man. The Saints, I couldn't even call low and brag on them and say and laugh, in my famous way. I couldn't even laugh at low because I'm sitting up here laughing at my team. I like, I couldn't even go over there and mess with my boy about it. I had to leave him alone. All right, he said you pull Radley, you hurt his confidence. You put Shuck. He said you put Shuck, you could possibly hurt his confidence too if it doesn't go well. Tough situation. Indeed, bro. Stick with who you got. The man not playing that bad where you have to yank him out of there. Let's get these wide receivers to get off their ass and earn their money. Let's do that, bro. Can we get that done? You see what I'm saying? Let's get that done. Brian says that's an elite development, first franchise identities, mold players, and exactly what they need. Philadelphia's football greatest franchise currently. Yeah, I give you that. Howie Roseman is a very active general manager. The key word there is active. Mickey Loomis is a problem to the entire matrix of the New Orleans Saints because he's not a visionary. He's not imaginative. He's really quite lazy when the season starts. He's more VP than he is general manager. He is a major bedsore for the New Orleans Saints organization. He has no vision for anything, and whatever it's just a terrible look because he's too old for that position, and you need a younger guy to operate in today's NFL. And the guy has a job. He's a VP. He doesn't need both those jobs. And I can't get Gail or any of these people to have the power to move him out of that position or at least take it away from him and give it to somebody else. They're so stupid. They allow him to hire other people for him to sub out the job to. What do you need Dimitrov for? What do you need these other guys for? Do your damn job. He subs out the job and make them pay for it. I just don't understand, man. The whole Loomis thing is it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a major problem. I agree with you about Philadelphia, Brian. I agree. But that's the thing. It's a big difference. That's why Howie Roseman fleeces the Lily, out of Mickey Loomis every time they trade. Well, hold on now. I got to keep my hands in my pocket when I deal with that guy. No. You just don't have a brain. The guy is a general manager. He fleeces Loomis every time they make trades. And Loomis, and I ain't make that up. He said that about, I have to keep my hands in my pocket. No, you're not a real general manager. That's why the guy could fleece you and take advantage of you and stuff like that. He said that about Roseman. Roseman pays attention to his team. Why? Because he's a general manager. Why? Because his job is to do nothing else except for pay attention to his damn team, not to close his door and go somewhere else. He stays there and he pays attention to the team. If they need defensive tackles, he goes out and makes trades. You see what I'm saying? Always actively moving to improve the team, either through free agency, trade, pulling people off somebody else's practice squad, getting this guy out of that guy. As long as you have that going for you, you're going to have a winner. Not somebody sitting up here eating clam chowder in with his door closed. You don't even know the temperament of his own damn team. It's a difference. And that's why, the Saints are where they are in terms of team development over there. You talk about accountability. The Saints organization doesn't have accountability. Mickey Loomis is not accountable to anybody because nobody's holding him accountable. He doesn't answer to anybody. They do not question him. They leave him alone and let him do whatever he wants to do. And that's a problem. Because number one, he's an egomaniac. Number two, he's an attention whore. Number three, he's incredibly ignorant. Number four, he's stubborn as hell. And number five, he's not a visionary. That was a lot of stuff right there. That was a lot of stuff right there. And all of that shit was true. Anyway, listen, man, I'm going to get ready to get on up out of here, fam. I took enough of y'all time. I hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight, man. And, man, it is what it is. Darrell says to me, Chris Olave is definitely not a number one wide receiver. Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, Evans are number ones. Olave is not that. Put him at 2 and get a true number one. Bro, I could not agree with you more. I agree. He is not a number one. He's not even a McLaurin, a Terry McLaurin who got 60 something with it, $60 million, whatever it is. What's up, Brian? Student. What's up, student? Yeah, it's just what it is, fam. But it's a part of the game, and we have to realize that. Like, the Loomis thing is not going to change anytime soon unless Gil sells the team or something else happens, right? Something drastically happens in terms of, what I'm talking about. But you're stuck with this guy for right now. But what's on the field is the Kellen Moore thing. I do think Kellen Moore is a good young coach, and it's gonna be, a learning process. But the veterans are the problem with the New Orleans Saints. The veterans, family, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Obviously, they're the problem, not these young players. We always put on the young players. It's not the young players this time. It's these damn veterans. The veterans are not playing good football, smart football, fundamental football, and a damn sure not leading these young players to do the same thing. That's reality. So anyway, I'm going to leave y'all with that. Listen, I appreciate y'all. Y'all do me a service if y'all like the show. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Also, feel free to share the show links on your social media feed. Man, we up in this thing talking black and gold on Hump Day. Listen, fam, I'm going to be back on tomorrow. Shout out to you, Soul Visionary History. I'm going to be back tomorrow on Thursday, and we're going to get back at it again and check out that injury report. I'm very interested to see if Chase Young will be on that injury report as limited. We need Chase Young. If he's close, the Saints need Chase Young for this Buffalo Bill game. We don't have a pass rush. Now, I'm not saying he comes in there and give you 3 or 4 sacks, but whatever he can give that is positive, I'll take, because Cam is stick a fork in Cam. Cam had that first week, and then those last 2, it's just not working. Cam is not a starter anymore. Cam is a key reserve guy. We need somebody else with more athleticism and speed to get some more pressure. We can't allow guys to stand back there and throw the ball. Josh Allen will moidalize you. You think Sam Darnold and Mac Jones were superstars. If they turn them guys into superstars, they're going to turn this guy, Josh Allen, into a legend if they let him sit back there and pass the ball on them. And it's going to be hell. We need a pass rush, man. And with that being said, I'm getting out. Much love. I'll holler at y'all later. Much love. Who Dat? Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that?
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat, you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro